Hello and good morning. Welcome back to Attacking Third. We love to be here. Sandra Herrera joining you in the host seat alongside Darian Jenkins and McCall Zerboni. I am thrilled for the episode that we've got in front of us today. We're going to chat about the 2025 rookie class, how they're doing, how they're chugging along, maybe some trends that we're noticing within this season amongst the rookies. And we are also going to discuss BayFC's recent announcement. We might have a little bit of a special interview in tow. So there's a lot to chat through here. We're going to get through it all together. Thank you if you are here and joining us in our YouTube chat. Let us know how you're feeling. And if you're joining us on Golazo Network, hello. We'll be right back. Attacking Third is back with Darian Jenkins, McCall Zerboni, and Sandra Herrera, and we got to chat all things women's soccer. But before we get into that, we got to hit everybody with a vibe check. Darian, how you doing today?
Y'all, I'm great. Vibes are high. Sandra Herrera, McCall Zerboni. I love this crew. Things are good. We've got some sunshine in New York, so I'm instantly like on 10. But how are you guys doing?
Sun is out, don't know how to act. When that sunshine hits you in New York or Chicago, like you're just like, oh,
Yep.
please stick around. Please stick around. How about you, McCall? How you doing?
I'm loving it. I'm in California for the first time in 15 years. I got to spend Easter with my family.
I love that.
Yeah, because we're always
Perk
playing
of being
during Easter.
retired.
Yeah, exactly. The benefits of letting the game go on my feet. So
You're like, no problems with sunshine out here. I'm in Cali. You're like happy for you.
Yeah.
Didn't read all that. We're fine out here.
The weather
Yeah,
here
I'm
is
okay.
no weather. It's 70 and sunny every day.
I love it. You love to hear it. You love to see it. Let's hop to it. You know, we're here together for one thing and one thing only. That's chat women's soccer, baby. Let's go. Shout out to everybody joining us live on YouTube. Make sure you let us know how you're feeling, how you're hanging in the chat. We're gonna drop into these topics here. We want to talk about the 2025 rookie class. We thought it would be a good idea 5 weeks in to the regular season here to go ahead and tap in and take a little bit of a temperature check. The rookie class is definitely showing up and showing out. And we just want to ask a simple question like, why is this rookie class so good? There have been a ton of rookies who have found themselves on the scoreboard. A couple of players representing one specific club. We got to shout out Riley Tiernan and Macy Hodge. They are two players cutting it up for Angel City. Maddie DeLehan for the Rain. We've got Gia Corley for the Wave doing some very, very cool things. It almost sort of feels like a player who has maybe perhaps unlocked some things for the Wave there. But shout out to Maggie Graham, Lily Real, and Carly Lima as well alongside here. Other rookies who are doing really cool things, maybe haven't found themselves on the score sheet quite yet. Sarah Shapansky for Gotham, Trinity Armstrong. And you know what? I'll just give a very special shout out to Jordan Buck. Despite not actually being qualified for a rookie, she only had a handful of games in 2024, but it feels like these early stretches of the season for the Rain, she is really producing some things as well. We saw that incredible goal that she had really, really early on. But, you know, this is an interesting topic to dive into because we're talking about these rookies in a post-draft era. So I think I want to go to the two of you with this, of course, as the former players and the expertise that you have and all the experience that you hold. Post-draft era, Darian, with no draft in place, and the performances that we're seeing so far to start off this year, is it just as simple as a combination of players who signed with the right team? Is that just like the simple formula of things here?
I don't know if it's that simple because the draft the draft was something that even if you got drafted high, it didn't mean you were going to play with a team. You could be drafted to Gotham last year and get no minutes. Gotham 2023 get no minutes because it's so stacked. So I think it's really a credit to a lot of these players, like a Riley Tiernan, her story, going on as an invitee to try out with Angel City. And she balled out so much in preseason that they signed her to a contract. And now she's starting playing, getting minutes. I think a lot of the times to be a rookie, there has to be a lot of things that go right your way, whether it's, hey, maybe someone got injured or this player got traded or they're leaving, they're retiring. Wow, now that space opens up for me to, the space is open for me to maybe take advantage of, and they're not bringing anybody else in. And I think we're seeing that with a lot of these rookies that are really grasping that opportunity. But it's so early on with this that I don't know. I'm not fully convinced of the effects of the no draft versus having the draft yet.
This is year one. This is just year one of it. Like, for folks who are maybe just tuning in for the first time or just tapping into this convo, the new CBA, recently ratified by the league and the Players Association, eliminated all drafts. We're not just talking an entry draft, but expansion drafts as well. There are no more draft events in the NWSL moving forward. And maybe that's what part of this is. Teams and players who are going from the amateur level to the pro level are figuring out how to navigate that. How do you make that leap? And if you are maybe on the club executive side, how do you recruit? How do you retain? How do you scout? How do you navigate putting together contracts for a player that's coming in essentially unproven, right? I think that's a big one there. And I think this era of no draft moving forward is also, it's coming at a time where we're maybe seeing and recognizing more pipelines for development of players. What's your opinion on that sort of landscape, McCall?
I mean, I think in the past, it's been really difficult for rookies to come into this league and make a splash. But because that the league has been around for 11 years and they've been able to watch and see what it takes, the level that they need to be at, and then now they're taking their game more seriously at a younger age because they realize that they can go pro and there is a platform for them to do that. So the development for them along the way has increased and become more serious. And so they're growing at faster rates. And so when they get to these ages after college, or even if they skip it, they're way more ready because the NWSL is trickling down the quality in this country. And so that's why these players are more ready and they're doing so well. Like, I have never seen a season that they have been able to make such an impact so early on. Like, usually you don't see rookies start until like June or July because they need to train in that pro environment for a while and get used to the pace and the tempo. But now that they're coming in and they're ready right away.
Also, considering, like, even when I was looking to go pro, I was fortunate enough to know McCall Zerboni from UCLA. I played with Abby, Dahlkemper, Sam, Caprice, all of these players that were getting drafted, going to play professional. Well, I had the opportunity to watch them. Now, if I wasn't at UCLA, I wouldn't have had the ability to know, oh, that's the level I have to play at. I have to train at. These are how to be professional, how to prepare for games, the qualities that go into being a pro. Now, the NWSL has TV deals. The NWSL has way more teams than ever before. The accessibility to watch your favorite player week in, week out, watch clips of them training, the accessibility of even social media and seeing how people take care of themselves, players that are very vulnerable and share those parts of their lives. That's a huge part to me as to why we're seeing so many younger players become pro. That level of accessibility, vulnerability, visibility that you now have to see, that's how you become pro. Where when I was young, I was watching Marta clips, Thierry Henry clips of, oh, that's how I need to play. And those are qualities in my game. Now you get to watch any player. You can watch Trinity Rodman, you can watch Corey Bethune, you can watch all of these players week in, week out and see that those are parts of your game that you need to work on. This is how you need to be to get to that level and have an extra edge. So I think we're just going to keep seeing it get better and better because we have that.
Yeah, they're able to watch. And also, the last few years while I played, we had so many college players come in the summer and train with us. So now they actually have a training environment where they can practice at that level before they are qualified to join that level. So they got that experience. And it was really cool for me to see, wow, these kids can hang. Like, they're going to be ready very soon. Like, they just need to stay like a couple more months, like the gap is shrinking now, where it used to be college was such a lower quality than the pros, but now players are ready sooner because they have these opportunities with the league.
And we're watching some of these players make those decisions earlier. Like, it was kind of just these one-off type of special, unique moments, right? Like Jenna Davidson declaring for the draft, or Soph Smith the following year declaring for the draft. Like, how that was just sort of, it felt like just a unique circumstances, and that's not necessarily the case anymore. This concept of like foregoing college or leaving college early to turn pro is now becoming a new normal, whereas maybe before it wasn't considered as common, at least in the American women's professional
What could
landscape.
change that is what's going on right now that might come is the new settlement with House versus NCAA lawsuit. I don't know how many people know about that, but there might be changes coming in D1 sports with potential new NCAA rules coming in, where basically schools will have more flexibility in financial spending with their athletes, because they're going to increase the amount of sports scholarships that they can give, because now they're realizing they need to compete with pro sports because all these kids are skipping school. So now what they're trying to do is get more money that they can give. And so everyone on the roster can have a scholarship. Whereas before, we're very familiar with this term in the NWSL, they had a salary cap at colleges. But now they're fighting to remove that salary cap so they can give every single one of their student athletes a scholarship to entice them to come to school. So that can change. Yeah.
It's very interesting. I actually, you know what, in that, sticking with that energy a little bit, because you're both two former players who can look back at your time and say this was very clearly the draft era of NWSL, and touching on things that are changing that landscape now, and DU speaking a little bit about the experiences of that, just looking at players as examples to follow, and what you need to do in order to close that gap for yourself and make that leap to going pro, and how that maybe doesn't always pan out, because it sounds like you're both also saying how the trajectory of things you were able to kind of pluck that out. You could say, okay, this is supposed to be the timeline for a rookie in NWSL. You're getting drafted, okay, you've made your way onto the roster. Surely you're not going to be getting games until maybe mid-season, because you could see the gap or they need time. So for the two of you personally, what was that like to earn a contract in the draft era? Because that's not necessarily, we're not seeing similar storylines for some of these players in this 2025 season. They got their contracts, and I just rattled off a ton of players who are already on score sheets and have made impacts for their clubs. For the two of you, knowing that maybe there's talent in front of you on a roster, how do you like manage those things on a personal and professional level?
My experience was different. I was fortunate because I had a really good college career, but I broke my leg my senior year. So it was either I stay at college and do my rehab there, or a pro team signs me and I go basically learn the ropes, just observing and getting to know the team. And that's essentially what happened. I signed, moved to North Carolina with McCall, JMac, our girls on the show. And I just took the time to rehab, become a real professional. I've talked about this before, watching McCall, Jess, Abby Urseg, players like that, Abby Dahlkemper, who are true professionals that take such good care of themselves, and just learn. I sat and watched Ashley Hatch, who was also part of my, got drafted with me in my rookie class, take off, rookie of the year. Jess McDonald, Lynn Williams in front of me. Those are players I got to just sit and watch and learn by. And I went with a lot of my UCLA teammates too, to see their game. I really took the time to sit, learn, appreciate the game again, and just try to get myself back healthy. And then I had a great second year, and then ended up going to Seattle and balling out. So to me, I just took that opportunity as I'm just going to learn. I'm going to watch this incredible group of women, of players, and learn the best that I can. But I think, McCall, you probably have a different experience than that. I don't think you came in injured with a broken leg to your professional career.
No, I did not. And you played your whole career with a broken leg. You're so impressive. I can't believe it. Yeah, I had a very different experience. I was drafted, obviously, and I think the players now, it's a better situation for them because they can choose where they want to go. So they're looking at rosters and looking at holes in rosters where I can go right. If I'm a striker, I'm not going to go where there's 10 strikers already on the roster that have experience. So for me, when I got drafted, I went to a team that was star-studded in the midfield. There was no freaking way I was ever going to play or make my way into that roster. It was Shannon Box, Camille Abley, Ali Wagner, Aya Miyama, Marta, like never in a million years. So it was like, I was so glad I got drafted, but I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm never touching the field. There was so many more experienced, better players than me. So actually I didn't get signed to a contract until like June. I had to really just grind and learn what it took to be a professional, watch those players ahead of me and really increase my game in order to like be good enough at that level. Whereas now the rookies can kind of choose where they want to go and see where is a good fit for them, not only in the style of play or the coach that values them or even the city that they want to live in, but also that
part
team that they fit in, that they can have an impact and get minutes right away.
Does that maybe is that the thing that's possibly lending itself to this early success for these rookies? I don't want to say less expectations, but there are, because there maybe isn't that pressure of declaring for a draft and then having this waiting around and seeing approach if you're gonna get selected, and then if you're one of those players that doesn't get selected, maybe wishing, hoping, praying that you get an invite. Does not having a draft kind of maybe limit or shift the expectation on these current players, having not gone through a draft and not having that type of ranking kind of placed on them?
It does a bit, because I think when you look at even if you get drafted in the top 10, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, you're more likely to get a contract because your name now with social media and what that means for like brand deals and national team prospect and blah blah. There's a lot of PR to me that goes into it, but you can be a player like, Savvy King didn't play a ton for Bay last year. She was drafted very high. And credit to her, she left, she's balling out with Angel City now, but it doesn't always translate to you getting a ton of minutes, you thriving at a club. So to me, I actually like that the number overhanging your head is gone, the number one pick, the number whatever pick. It doesn't always translate to actually how you play on the field, how you even adapt to playing pro. That's a huge learning curve. How you deal with even the mental battles of, maybe I'm starting this week, maybe I'm not. I had a shitty week of training. What does that mean for, now I'm not starting in this match? There's a lot that goes into it that I think a number over your head of where you were drafted really doesn't matter. So I still think we need time to see how this is gonna pan out. But I also like that a player can just go, if they get invited or get to go show up at a preseason and have the flexibility to ball out, fit in wherever, pick a team where, this player's leaving, this player just got injured. Okay, now I've got the opportunity to go. I'm gonna prove it. I really like that. I like that it's there. That pressure to me goes away a bit. And I think if you're one of those players that doesn't get drafted or is drafted later, who I'm blanking on her name. She's with Seattle now, outside back. She was with Angel City last year. Princeton.
Curry.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah,
Madison Curry. Like, to me, that is a player that proved all of that she should be a staple in this league, yet she was drafted late. She went to a position that she didn't even play professionally, and she was one of the best players for Angel City last year. So I'm with it, but I still think we're going to need time to actually see the true effects of what this means for teams.
You know what? I think there's this transitional period right now, because this is year one post-draft. And we should talk about that a little bit, about what that part of it actually feels like in terms of the negotiating and the business side of it, and the sporting business side of a post-draft era in NWSL. We're going to do that right after a quick break. We're still chatting all things rookie season in 2025, but we're getting into this post-draft conversation because we're seeing these incredible performances from players. A lot of them ending out the weekends here in NWSL through 5 weeks with their names on the score sheets, a part of these highlight reels. And there's a lot of success that we're celebrating there. And I wonder is it early to say, okay, this post-draft era is a success for the NWSL moving forward. No further evidence needed. Or is there still room here to kind of iron things out and say there's some things that have to be worked on a little bit? Because when you kind of narrow this conversation into the club side of things, I think there's an argument to be made there that still you can look across the league and say not every club is created equal. And we are looking at some of these rookies and we're dropping some of these names, and we look at maybe like Angel City and there's 2 players that we're talking about, on one team. And then there's a slew of other teams that don't have their name in the mix of this rookie conversation. So when you look across the league, when you look ahead a little bit in this post-draft era, what are the things that really need to occur or shift and take place for this kind of post-draft era to really just sort of feel like that quote unquote new normal for the NWSL?
Also, scouting and recruiting, right? All the clubs need to now focus on hiring people in those places to be watching these young players in college or all around the world and scouting them and recruiting them and understanding their gifts and what their value they can bring to their club, and then getting ahead of the process to contact them and start recruiting them to come. But if you are a club who's not paying extra staff members for scouting and for travel to go around and watch these young kids, you're not going to be able to discover them. So if you can't discover young, good players, you're not going to have any on your team. So it might directly be related to the clubs that don't have any good youngsters right now, just didn't put the work in to go study and watch them and learn them.
I'm also wondering, a big part of that to me is looking at teams that, what is your style of play? What are you really trying to accomplish? Because the teams that we all have question marks that don't have like a ton of rookies. Yes, the Dash have Maggie Graham, who's killing it. But that's still a team where we're like, I don't know. Louisville's another team where we're like, yeah, we still don't know. We see glimpses. We're trying.
At the Dash has mentioned that he wanted experienced NWSL players that he wanted at his team.
Yeah.
He was not interested in having rookies very much on his squad.
Which makes sense, but also hilarious because Graham is one of those players that's balling.
Yeah, for real.
Then I'm looking at a Seattle Reign, and Laura Harvey is a genius. We knew that she wanted to pick Lynn Williams. Okay, Biondolo is a player that's going to completely change the way that we've seen Seattle play. You're going to be a little more direct. You're going to play to her strengths. You pick up a rookie like Maddie Deline, who comes in, who plays Lynn Biondolo-esque, super, super crafty on the ball. She had a brilliant finish this last week. So I think to me, the big question of who planned well, McCall, to your point, who scouted well, who has a defined style of play that is actually bringing in players to help execute it, that they can develop in a way that's going to make them ball out. Those are the teams that are really successful right now in the league. Those are the teams that are having rookies come score, or just like Sarah Shupansky and Lily Reel, really get a ton of minutes and be effective on their team.
That have vets that they're learning from at training day in and day out. So you need to have a healthy combination of experienced players as well as like young, hungry players that have a lot of potential. Because I was speaking with Lynn last week and she was like, Darlene reminds me a lot of myself. I'm in training, like trying to teach her how to run. And, I see that I can really affect her game because we're very similar in the way that we play. And like stuff like that is invaluable. It's amazing. Like that's why she's balling out, I mean, props to her. She's a natural talent also. But when you have someone like Lynn Biondolo helping you every day, let's go.
Okay. You're mentioning, I'm hearing Seattle. I'm hearing Gotham. I'm going to just slightly move Seattle out of the equation right now because they're kind of sitting mid-table. Is Gotham the outlier here? Because when I look at, Orlando, Kansas City, they're just like running gauntlets, on the league right now. Even Spirit in this capacity, right? They're past that rookie phase. They've got the rookies from that they had in 2024, and they're like woven into their system. They are no longer first year players. So these elites of the league right now are not necessarily operating or navigating their regular season with an emphasis or an inclusive of rookies per se. And if some of their younger players or first year players are going to get minutes, I would imagine that maybe with how things are going right now, we're 5 weeks in, maybe it is on that trajectory of how things used to operate. We might not see some of these players get minutes until perhaps those summer windows or those summer breaks where there are like one-off kind of exhibition games or things like that. Like maybe those are the moments in where we're finally going to see those players on those particular teams. So I do think there's a landscape of the overall landscape here. You could see some of these teams in which, yes, they are having an effect. And then you see other teams where that's not happening. And it's maybe some of those really kind of big dog type of teams or teams that are super on the bottom of the table. If you're looking at like a Utah Royals or a Chicago Stars or a Louisville in this case. So it's almost like this, it's a very interesting pendulum swing here that we're noting. And so I'm very curious if that is the stuff that needs to get ironed out, and how does it get ironed out? Is it just with the resources that you mentioned, McCall? Is it about teams making sure that they need to have those appropriate departments and they kind of have those things in play? I do wonder if, because this is year one of the post-draft era, that maybe some clubs, especially if they find themselves kind of at the top, eating a little bit differently than the teams at the bottom, that maybe they feel like they have a little bit of time or window here to continue to develop those things in the future. But I think the other side of that argument is that if you're one of those lower teams, like a Louisville or Chicago or Utah, what is there a sense of urgency? Do you think there should be some bell ringing or alarm ringing for if you're a lower team and you don't have that type of stuff in place quite yet to actively recruit and retain?
Yeah, I can take this. I think, yeah, it should ring alarm bells. Also, for example, Louisville, Chicago, there's been alarm bells. When Mel Swanson is not playing, there's been alarm bells. Louisville has it's kind of always been a team where you're like, want them to do better, but something's missing. They need a goal scorer. They need somebody to put things away, and they don't have it, or they can't retain it. But looking at even the top tier teams, I'm thinking, well, they did all of the rookie preparation 2 years ago, and they're reaping the benefits of it now. The Kansas City, the Orlando's, the Washington Spirits. They recruited, they developed, they worked with those players, and now you're seeing them be stars in the league. So difficult to play against. True professionals. These lower tier teams, we haven't seen that yet. I don't know if they've even had the backing of the veterans consistently enough for the rookies to sit and learn under and become those star players for their respective teams. And I think the fact that it's almost you're 2 steps behind now when these other teams are taking off with it, that, yeah, you should have alarm bells. Maybe it's you go with what Fabrice Gautrat is saying, and I'm just going to rock with the vets. I'm not trying to do the rookie thing just yet. I need to have that established before I develop the rookies.
Is that an unfair outlook if you're a coaching staff? Do you think that's unfair of a coach to say, this is how I want to roll with my team?
No, that's their choice. But the alarm bell for me is that the parity of this league is going away. Yeah. So now that players have so much choice to go where they want to go, and they're not going to want to go to teams that are historically losing or at the bottom of the table. They're not going to want to go to cities they don't want to live in. So now that they have a lot of choice, and there's no draft and there's free agency, now there's all of a sudden going to be these super desirable teams and these super undesirable teams. And so the chart is going to drop and have a big gap in it now. And that used to be one of the best things about our league, was the parity, that any team could win on any day. But now we're going to start to see dominance rising and lowers dropping. And that's going to be a concern for me, because we all want entertainment on every day that we're watching a game. We want to keep this parity.
Okay. Is it that simple though? I think, like, I've heard you both say the free agency that players will have in a post-draft era is meant to be for them to have more ownership over their careers, which is something that we all want to see moving forward. But is it really that simple for an unproven rookie to navigate conversations with these sort of top tier teams and say, well, I like what you got going on. You're a winner. Sign me up. And the club is just supposed to say, okay, sure. Yeah, here's a contract. Is it that simple?
It's not that simple to me because, again, you have to look at so many factors of, well, who's on the team? Are you going to bring in internationals? Am I going to sign a rookie contract? And are you going to sign Salma Peruelo from Barcelona in 2 weeks? And then the position I think I'm going into changes. There's a lot of, I'm just manifesting here that she comes to the NWSL.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of factors that go into it, especially behind the scenes where GMs, you don't know what they're planning. Coaches, you don't know what they're planning for the future, who they're trying to bring in, who they're planning to trade.
But you kind of do, though, because they're signing these rookies to 5-year contracts and stuff. So to me, that's a long-term plan.
And to me, though, then you're saying, well, you're still trying to figure it out. You don't even know, you don't know what's going to happen next year with this player and parts of their game, or how maybe your own game's going to change and who you're going to bring in that's going to change the style. For example, like a Seattle, bringing Lynn Biondolo is a huge statement to me that we are changing the way this team is playing. These like tight passing players, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to be most effective anymore. This is actually going to change your game. Or if you don't change with us and you're not going to be as strong as you are with your old game, you're going to be pushed out. We saw some vets on that team that left and went to Canada that were staples in the NWSL. To me, it's all, we don't know the full effect, but assigning a rookie to a 5-year contract is crazy because, okay, this is basically college. We're going to take you through college at this point and see at the end how you're going to do. That doesn't always translate to being a pro that's going to be a staple for a team. And if you're not, they'll sign an international in your spot.
Mm-hmm.
I think as far as performances, we will continue to be entertained by the rookie class in 2025. I think when it comes to the temperature check of the post-draft era, that's still TBD. There are obviously some things that still are getting worked through and need to have resolutions. It's a conversation I'm sure we're going to tap back in on because we're only 5 weeks into the season. So we're definitely going to check back in on this conversation for sure. For now, we're going to take a little quick break because we've got a very special interview with Caprice Dydasco coming up right now. We are back and ready to talk all things Bay FC. Let's do it. Let's get into it. Bay FC recently announced that they're going to host the Washington Spirit at Oracle Park in San Francisco on August 23rd. It's home to Major League Baseball's San Francisco Giants. And of course, it's a match that's going to be on CBS. So we're quite excited about this news. Fans are going to get a chance to be a real special part of some history here. Pretty big facility. Maybe we'll see a new record in attendance, and tickets are going to go on sale to the public on May 6th. So if you're in and around the area or like checking out special sporting events, maybe take a look at those tickets. We are excited to bring in Caprice Dydasco to talk a little bit more about this special announcement. And there she is, Caprice Dydasco. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. I miss you guys.
I know.
You too.
That's awesome. We're so happy that you're here joining us, Caprice. Look, we're talking and celebrating this new announcement, and we want to start off with that. This isn't the first time that Bay FC have found themselves in the middle of an announcement like this. Last year, Bay FC played at iconic Wrigley Field against Chicago Stars, and now there's going to be another huge opportunity here for Bay players to make a little bit more history. What's it feel like to get another opportunity like this?
Yeah, it's such an awesome opportunity for us to play in front of our fans in the Bay Area. We do represent all of the Bay Area, so it's great to play in the city, closer to fans that live in San Francisco, and hopefully, like you said, break records. And I feel like as a veteran, we're always pushing the boundaries and trying to grow the league, and this is such a great opportunity for us.
Excuse me, Caprice. I was thinking, wow, look at this Bruin connection. I absolutely love this. Go UCLA. Look at all of us.
I
Fours
know,
up.
it's so awesome to see my friends all thriving and killing it and everywhere.
Oh, I love this. Caprice, can you imagine even going from your rookie year playing professional to now PayPal Park to now you're going to play at this incredible venue? Could you have imagined your rookie self, the attendance, everything that's happening now in your career at this phase?
No, I always tell the rookies, I'm like, wow, you guys have it amazing. Like
Right.
I started with like host families and playing at a complex that was right outside like a neighborhood in Maryland, and they had no idea who we were. And now we're playing in such an amazing stadium at PayPal, and now even bigger at Oracle. So my rookie self would be amazed at where this league is now, and that I'm still playing, honestly. Yeah.
Don't sell yourself short. No, you didn't just like say, I'm surprised I'm still standing.
Yeah, I'm like 11 years in, and the girls are just getting younger and younger.
You're hanging
Cappy,
tough,
have
though.
you and your teammates been to a game at Oracle Park before yet? Like, do you guys go out and do those things together? How is it?
Yes, we went to go watch a game last year. It was awesome. It's just like it's like so iconic. The stadium's amazing. It's right on the bay, and it's such an iconic stadium, like you said, like Wrigley last year. And I think that's going to draw a lot of fans to come and join us, even if they've never heard of ASC.
I'm curious, Caprice, having gone through a similar process last year in Chicago, does something like a unique, special one-off type of game, and how it affects maybe a particular week of training for a special event, and you could walk us through maybe any differences or maybe even any similarities?
Yes, of course. So there was a long process before we decided to play Oracle. Back in the league, we played on baseball fields, and we fought so hard as a PA to not play on baseball fields, and that we took that into consideration with the club. And our ownership was so awesome that they wanted to make sure that we felt comfortable playing on this baseball field. Yes, it's a great business opportunity, and yes, it's a great opportunity for us to play in front of like our fans in the city, but they want to make sure that us as players felt safe. We wanted this to be pushed forward, and that this is something that we wanted. So we had to take in consideration. They invited us to the field to walk the field with the groundskeeper, that with like their plans of how safe this field is going to be, their process of how we're going to fill the stadium. And so it was a great process that like the leaders of this BFC team was a part of this process of deciding if we even wanted to push this forward. But yeah, it's going to be a week of just kind of keep our like energy and keeping as much as like our routine as we can leading to this game.
I love that. I feel like it's reclaiming the power of playing on a baseball field where it's not thrown at you. You actually get to go inspect and say, well, this isn't good enough. This is, and actually make sure it's safe and proper and that you guys get to ball out how you should. Caprice, I want to ask about your career. Obviously, you went to the Spirit, Gotham, Houston, and now you're with Bay. What did you learn from each phase of each team? Because McCall and I mean, all three of us have played on a couple different teams. And I was like, I learned something so different from each team I played at. So I wanted to pose that to you.
Yeah, I think like the past 4 different teams, I learned so many different things. At Spirit, I was a rookie. I had such great veterans, and we learned so much. I did not play much my rookie year, but I had such great leaders like Allie Krieger, that was a captain, Crystal Dunn, that she was on my team but didn't make the World Cup team, but she worked her butt off that year and she won. She was leading goal scorer and player of the year that year. So it was awesome to see and learn from those veterans. And then I went to Sky Blue and then Gotham. So it was kind of good to be kind of like a veteran on that team, to lead that team from Sky Blue to Gotham. And rebranding. So I learned so much through that. And then Houston, after Gotham, I just needed like a refreshing, like fall in love with the sport again. And I love Houston. I love the team, and I learned a lot. I became a leader there. And here at Bay Area, I am so happy to be closer to home, and I'm a veteran, but like throughout my career, I've played every role. I was injured. I was a non-starter. I was a starter. I've been a traveler and non-traveler on the team. So I feel like I filled every role. And here at Bay FC, I feel like I'm a connecting player. I connect well with my teammates, and because I've been in every role possible. So I can feel for every player, whether they're injured, not playing, not starting. I've been there. And so I can share my experience with them. And I feel like that is why I'm here and connecting with my players.
Nice.
That truly is so important that you've lived through everything, especially with our league getting younger and younger, a lot of rookies, and you can kind of shed that experience that you've lived through every facet of it. That's amazing. One thing I wanted to ask you, so speaking of all the great things that the Players Union has done to fight for the players to improve, like not playing on baseball fields, including not being traded anymore without player consent. Can you share your story about being traded mid-season and how difficult that is for a player to adjust and things like that we don't really have to deal with anymore?
Yeah, well, let's start from Spirit to Sky Blue. I was in Hawaii during the off season, right before the draft. It was an hour before the draft. I get a call in Hawaii. It's like 4 a.m. and just saying like from the GM saying, you've just been traded. You'll get a call from the Sky Blue coach in like a few hours. And that's all they said. So I had no say. I was mid-sleeping at 4 a.m. in Hawaii, and I just started bawling. I'm like, what? Like, where is my life going? Is this something I want to do? Continue playing? So that was a shock. And then mid-season, yeah, it's so hard. You just don't know. You're so comfortable. You have your whole life set. You have your friends. And then you just got to pick up everything and move within a day because you have a game to play in a couple of days. So it's really hard to play and thrive and be confident when you just don't know if you walk into training one day and be like, you've just been waived or you've just been traded. So there was so many experiences where my first year at Spirit, I remember one of my teammates I was walking to training and she was walking out. I'm like, where are you going? And she's like, oh, I just been cut. I just been waived. With no severance, nothing. You just don't get paid that day. So now, leading 10 years later, it's so awesome that players have to confirm like if they want to be traded, and so moving forward, this is amazing for the players that they need their consent, and it's something that they want. Then the club has to agree with that.
It's so crazy thinking that was just a few years ago that was happening. I even remember my rookie year, players, I think like Caprice and Abby, I was talking to you guys about, oh yeah, some players find out on Twitter. And I was like, what? This is crazy. I can't wait to be a pro.
Yes.
I didn't really grasp it clearly.
Cannot wait. Yeah, no, man, that was like a couple of years ago when people found out on Instagram. They're like, oh, that's me. I'm cut. That's crazy. Yeah.
Thank God that doesn't happen anymore. Caprice, I want to ask, obviously, our other Bruin connection, Abby Dahlkemper. You guys were besties in college. You had such a connection. And then now playing professionally together, closer to home, local for Abby, around her family. How fun is it to just build on that connection from you guys being teenagers to now being veterans into the NWSL?
Yes, it was awesome when she called me that she was officially coming. I like started bawling of like happiness because ever since we were young, since the youth national team at like U14, we've always like, we want to play together in college and then we want to play professionally together. And during the college draft, that can't ever happen. So we were like, okay, eventually in our professional career, we want to like play together. But this couldn't be a perfect time for us to be playing together, closer to home, at her home, together. It was awesome. Last year was awesome because like we had that bond, so we had that connection. We like didn't need to like barely speak on the field. I don't know, Darian, if you remember, like on the field, like I played on the left outside back and she was on the right, and she would just like bomb balls forward to like diagonal balls. So like we just had that like connection, and this year we're just building on that, and I think teams are seeing that like that connection. So we're having to elevate our game and try to figure out ways to have that connection this year.
I love that you brought up Abby Dahlkemper, Darian, because earlier today on Morning Footy, our attacking third colleague, Lisa Carlin, had an interview with Carly Lima and Abby Dahlkemper. And one of the questions that she got was, who would be the best emergency contact on the team? And who would it be and why? And they both agreed that it would actually be you, Caprice. So you talked a little bit about all of the different roles that you've had to play. Are you ready to accept this new role as the emergency contact?
Sure.
You're going to change the title. It won't be emergency contact. It'll be team mom. Okay.
Yes, exactly. You can put me team mom.
I love that that was the answer for both a rookie starting out in their professional career and a savvy vet in your teammate and friend, Abby Dahlkemper. It doesn't matter where you're at in your career. You want to have Caprice Dydasco as your team mom / emergency contact. I love that. And I love that you were able to join us today to chat a little bit about Bay FC and the special event coming up in August. Thank you so much for your time, Caprice. We appreciate you. Good luck with the rest of the season.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Bye.
Take care. We'll be right back after a quick break. What a time. A time was had on Attacking Third. As always, we were chatting it up and cutting it up about rookies in 2025, the post-draft era. Caprice Dydasco got to join us. And when you're having fun, the time flies. Are there any final thoughts from either of you on any of our segments today? Caprice, Bay announcements before we say goodbye to our audience?
No, I love it. This was such a fun show. Yeah, this was such a fun show. I want to see more teams that go to other venues and ball out, though. I'm like, okay, Bay, okay, Chicago, let's see some more of it.
And we got to keep talking about the rookies. This is ever evolving, evergreen. More is going to come. More are going to start playing. More are going to start scoring goals and balling out. So this will be good.
I'm with you, D. Let's get the NWSL to all kinds of places. This is a pretty big nation, and there's a lot of cool places to play. Mm-hmm. So it just feels like this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg here with a couple of these games that we are going to that we got to see in Wrigley, and now that we'll get to see in Oracle Park. So it's been a blast. I don't know if anyone knows. I hope you do, because tonight there is NWSL action. We've got a little bit of midweek action that's coming into play. The first of this season, Portland Thorns and Gotham FC will go head to head. That's going to kick off after dark, you know it, 10:30 p.m. Eastern at Providence Park, and Attacking Third will return on Thursday, April 24th at 11 a.m. ET on YouTube to go ahead and preview all things Week 6 in the NWSL, along with Leg 2 of the UEFA Women's Champions League semifinals. So don't forget to tune in, tap in, have fun, and let us know you're around. Let us know all your thoughts. Thank you for joining us today. Happy you were all here, and we'll see you at the next one.